It began with a whisper, an unintentional image surfacing from the raw data of the James Webb Space Telescope. A handful of astronomers identified an unusual glitch in the spectrographic data, a pattern too precise, rhythmic, and artificial. This was not a cosmic dust flare, a dying star, or a comet. Instead, it was something cold, calculated, and deeply unsettling. Known as 3I Atlas, this object had already begun to challenge established laws of physics. The recent leakage from a confidential James Webb observation could drastically reshape our understanding of its nature. If the data is accurate, 3I Atlas may not simply be another elusive celestial object. It could be observing us. The truth is starting to come to light. When astronomers first spotted 3I Atlas, they assumed it was yet another interstellar comet. Previously, we had encountered similar entities, like Oumuamua and Borisov. These bizarre celestial objects would approach our Sun, only to vanish into the vastness of space. However, 3I Atlas swiftly set itself apart. It was not merely its trajectory or speed that raised questions, it was its behavior. Typical comets produce visible clouds of water vapor and dust as they approach the Sun. In contrast, 3I Atlas defied expectations. It displayed no coma, no tail, and no water. Instead, it released large quantities of carbon dioxide while remaining eerily silent across other spectrographic analyses. NASA directed the powerful infrared spectrometer on the SPHEREx Observatory to investigate the object, hoping to confirm the presence of water or carbon monoxide, gases usually found in comets. The results were startling. Only carbon dioxide was detected, with no signs of water or carbon monoxide. This chemical signature had never been observed in space. What type of object exclusively emits CO2? The unsettling fact is that none with such characteristics are known to exist. If it wasn't acting like a comet and it wasn't an asteroid, then what was it? As public interest grew, NASA seemed unusually tight-lipped. Yet, behind the scenes, a more sophisticated telescope focused on 3I Atlas. The James Webb Space Telescope, famous for its remarkable resolution and spectrographic detail, was covertly assigned to observe this object on August 6, 2025. No images were shared, and no press conferences were held, only continued silence. Now, however, a leaked report from a NASA analyst hints at what the Webb may have captured. An object lacking a natural coma but surrounded by a perfectly symmetrical CO2 halo stretching for hundreds of thousands of kilometers into space. Even more concerning, the infrared signature displayed an unusual brightness that didn't come from sunlight reflection. It appeared to originate from within the object. Was 3I Atlas producing artificial light? According to the leaked spectrographic analysis, the emissions resembled engineered photonic systems, patterns of light typically used in telecommunications or data transmission. The wavelengths were systematic, exhibiting a repeating structure akin to a cosmic Morse code. Further complicating the mystery, measurements indicated the object's diameter at 46 kilometers, significantly larger than any other known interstellar object. Such a massive entity entering our solar system from interstellar space implies one of two possibilities. Either our understanding of the universe is deeply flawed, or this object was intentionally sent here. However, perhaps the most troubling revelation was not about its size, chemistry, or emissions, but its trajectory. Unlike Oumuamua, which entered chaotically, 3I Atlas approached in perfect alignment with the planet's orbital plane. The odds of this trajectory occurring naturally were just 1 in 500. This suggests it navigated as if following a planned flight path, passing by several planets, including Earth, before continuing deeper into the solar system. Avi Low, a controversial Harvard astrophysicist known for Oumuamua theories, remarked that the trajectory implied technological intent. He observed that its approach angle was not just precise but optimized for observation from Earth-based and orbital telescopes, almost as if it wanted to be seen but not fully understood. Curiously, this object traces its origins back to the Sagittarius constellation, the same region from which the famed WOW signal was detected in 1977. A transmission often regarded as one of the most credible indicators of artificial signals from deep space. Now, reflect on the probabilities. The most enigmatic object we've observed in our solar system originated from the exact same area. As speculation grew, a new theory emerged, not rooted in science fiction, but rather in engineering plausibility. What if 3I Atlas wasn't a comet or asteroid, but a technologically advanced craft? Imagine a massive asteroid from a distant star system, hollowed out and fitted with internal machinery, sensors, or even an artificial habitat, shielded by dense rock to protect against cosmic radiation, with a thin outer layer sublimating CO2 to disguise its internal structure. To distant observers, it would appear natural unless closely examined. Soon after the James Webb Telescope began extended observations of 3I Atlas, strange occurrences were reported. Instruments across the Deep Space Network began malfunctioning. Initially, solar interference was blamed. However, what followed was unprecedented. Entire data streams from far-off probes, like New Horizons and legacy systems like Voyager 2, went silent simultaneously. Radio astronomers have identified localized electromagnetic anomalies surrounding their observation windows. It appeared as if something was responding to the telescope's focused gaze. While engineers dismissed it as a coincidence, analysts proposed it might be a cascade failure. However, observers began to contemplate a more disturbing question. Was 3 Atlas aware of being monitored? If it was, what did these electromagnetic disturbances signify? Was it a defensive tactic, a means of cloaking itself, or perhaps a warning? If it could interrupt communications from the outer solar system, it might also influence our perception. Celestial entities usually follow predictable paths, such as elliptical orbits, gravitational assists, or decaying spirals. In contrast, 3 Atlas broke this mold. Leaked tracking information showed its trajectory included unexpected non-ballistic alterations, far exceeding the gentle movement of a comet. These were intentional navigational adjustments. The ultimate confirmation arrived on July 4, when it sharply aligned with the Lyton star system, a red dwarf known to host at least one potentially habitable exoplanet. This seems too coincidental. If this object came from the Lyton system, having a predetermined destination and charted this route decades prior, it likely wasn't visiting our solar system for the first time, and certainly not the last. By decoding the signal patterns sent by 3 Atlas, a group of fringe biophysicists uncovered a shocking revelation. The mainstream scientific community quickly suppressed it. The signal's frequency ratios contained segments of DNA coding. This wasn't standard DNA, it was human-compatible, resembling helix-turn-helix motifs seen in gene regulation systems, essentially, biological logic gates. Could this be pure coincidence or merely mathematical illusions? Or does this imply that the message from 3 Atlas wasn't solely for us, but perhaps a reflection on our existence? What if this object recognized life on Earth because it had observed it before, or worse, had a role in its creation? This hypothesis sent shockwaves through the astrobiological community. Yet, before any formal documentation could emerge, every lab involved received cease and desist mandates from federal agencies. The official justification cited national security concerns relating to foreign satellite interference. However, behind closed doors, a shared understanding prevailed. This threat was of interstellar origin. The final leaked memo related to the James Webb observation logs repeatedly featured a chilling phrase in encrypted communications. Countdown initialized. 283 Earth days remaining. The unsettling part? This message did not originate from NASA. It was derived from the waveform structure embedded in the IR pulses emitted by 3 Atlas. Essentially, the countdown wasn't initiated by us, it was theirs. Researchers hurried to understand what event this countdown could signify. The solar maximum, Earth's alignment with 3 Atlas, or the object's closest approach to Mars were all considered, yet none matched perfectly. Then, someone overlaid these dates with historical information from 2 previous anomalous objects, Oumuamua and Borisov. The pattern became unmistakable. Every 7 years, a new object emerged, each demonstrating progressively complex emissions and a trajectory increasingly nearer to Earth. Many now speculate that 3 Atlas signifies Phase 3 of a broader interstellar observation initiative. This countdown doesn't refer to an Earth event, it suggests something is closing in. Among the most contentious findings in the leaked James Webb image of 3 Atlas was not the object itself, but the enigmatic shadow trailing behind it. Initially presumed to be debris, possibly ice or dust, further enhancements revealed something much more ominous. A perfectly linear shadow cast across the infrared field, behaving in a manner no natural object should. This shadow, curiously unaffected by solar light angles or background radiation, maintained its shape regardless of perspective. It seemed to trail the main object, generated not by sunlight, but some internal source, as if the shadow itself was projected outward. Experts from the European Southern Observatory suggested it could be a gravitational lensing artifact. Yet, whistleblowers from within the Webb team leaked documents classifying it as a self-shading entity, a term never before seen in scientific literature. However, one conclusion emerged. If 3 Atlas can independently create its shadow free from starlight, then it manipulates the surrounding space in ways we have yet to comprehend. So, we must inquire, what precisely did the James Webb Telescope capture? Not a comet, not debris, nor a random traveler from distant space. It recorded something that transcends our understanding, something that shouldn't move or emit signals, certainly not an entity that should be observing us. If 3 Atlas is indeed more than just an object, if it represents a signal, a consciousness, or a cosmic intelligence deliberately heading toward Earth, then James Webb didn't merely photograph, it triggered a reaction. It became part of the phenomenon. It became the observed. And amidst the profound silence of space, something responded. A countdown has begun. A map has been crafted. A signal is intensifying, and NASA is not panicking due to confusion. They are panicking because the reality has finally dawned on them. The question is no longer about what 3 Atlas signifies, it is about why now. Why Earth? And what occurs when the countdown hits 0? If the findings from James Webb are accurate, and the data confirms this unsettling truth, then this object is not